Somewhere between the last ridge and the first valley, a kingdom waits that time never finished. Glaciers the size of nations cling to peaks where rivers are born from ancient ice and shadow. At this altitude, breathing becomes a conscious act. The body was never designed for this place. These forests are vertical oceans of moss and mist, where storms rage unseen far above. Animals move through this land with certainty. They belong without permission, without explanation, without any doubt. This is Bhutan, a kingdom between the Himalayas and the sky, remote beyond all reason. No road arrives here easily. No border is crossed without the mountains making their position clear. The Himalayas wrap this kingdom like a wall built by the earth over millions of silent years. That wall was not built for defense. It was built by time, deeply indifferent to everything below. To the north, peaks rise past 6,000 meters into snowfields of cold, permanent blue light. Those snowfields glow on clear mornings, visible from valleys thousands of meters below in the dark. To the south, the land drops from glaciers to tropical forest within a single day of travel. One morning you stand in alpine cold. By nightfall, the air is warm and thick with life. No other country compresses this range of climate, altitude, and wildness into so small a space. The Black Mountains divide the country like a spine, pushing rivers east and west through ancient rock. Those rivers carved their valleys long before any human hand touched this land or named its passes. The water did not ask permission. It went where the rock allowed for thousands of unrecorded years. These mountains are not a backdrop. They are the reason this country exists in the form it does. What makes Bhutan impossible is not geography alone. It is the philosophy behind its own survival. Biodiversity is constitutionally protected here. 70% of the land must remain forested by law. This was not a compromise, it was a declaration, made once, without qualification, held ever since. The decision was made deliberately, to measure national health not in output, but in happiness. That word sits strangely against landscapes this raw, this violent in their beauty, this utterly indifferent to human preference. Happiness here is not comfort. It is the knowledge that the mountains have not been sold away. It is the certainty that the forest standing today will still be standing 100 years from now. It is the understanding that some things are worth more than any price anyone would pay for them. Bhutan has never asked to be understood on other terms. The mountains have always made that easy. The peaks do not shift for policy. The rivers do not pause for philosophy or any argument. This place continues, ancient, indifferent, complete, on terms set long before we arrived here. It will still be continuing long after every question we carried here has been entirely forgotten. The seasons in Bhutan do not transition, they collide with the authority of geological systems. Spring does not arrive gently here. It arrives as meltwater, as pressure, as roaring, sustained sound. Snowmelt descends from the high passes in gray-white sheets, joining rivers already swollen with months of ice. The drainage system of the entire country roars with a collective energy that shakes the very ground below. The Padochu swells wide and brown, carrying whole trees with the casual indifference of very deep time. The Wangchu rises to levels that strip its banks of every root and every embedded stone. The Mangdechu pushes its boulders downstream as casually as a hand brushing dust from any surface. Farmers watch the water rise with calculation, not with fear. Floods are also the source of all fertility. They have read these rivers for many generations. The water rises, the water falls, the rich soil stays. This is not a relationship built on fear. It is one of extremely long, accumulated, inherited knowledge. By early summer, the monsoon arrives from the Bay of Bengal with tremendous and accumulated force. It strikes the southern foothills and turns them into a wall of warm, water-heavy ascending air. Precipitation falls on a scale that transforms entire landscapes within days, not weeks or seasons. Waterfalls appear overnight on cliff faces that were dry stone only days before, raw, white, new. Each one carves its own path down the rock, with no memory of what existed there before. The rhododendron forests, bare all winter, ignite into red and white and pink through the rising mist. Color at this elevation feels like defiance, a living argument against the cold and the gray above. Snow leopards pause on high outcroppings above the tree line, watching the green transformation spread far below. Their eyes register everything. Their expressions reveal nothing. They belong to a patience older than the seasons. Then the monsoon retreats, the atmosphere contracts, and autumn arrives all at once across the entire sky. The air drains of humidity, and the mountains return, sharp and clean against a blue with no name. That blue exists only at this latitude, at this altitude, in this exact post-monsoon clarity of air. It has no equivalent in the lower world. No photograph captures it. You know it only by being here. In October, golden light strikes white peaks, while valley forests burn amber, ochre, and deep red below. The entire country compresses between sky and earth in a display of color far outside ordinary beauty. Black-necked cranes descend into Phobjika Valley in November, following a migration route older than human memory. Their arrival marks the close of autumn, the last great movement before the cold seals everything still. No forecast captures this transition with accuracy. No calendar predicts when the cranes will appear above the valley. The valley simply waits, as it always has, and the cranes arrive, as they always have, from the north. People have lived in Bhutan for at least 4,000 years, moving in along ancient mountain routes. Those roots required a deep tolerance for altitude, cold, and uncertainty that would stop most modern travelers. The earliest settlements grew along rivers, living always in permanent negotiation with powerful and unpredictable water. Water gave life to the terraces. Water also removed them. The people always came back, every single time. Terraced rice fields on near vertical slopes represent millennia of accumulated labor and refined water knowledge. Those precise geometric steps were carefully carved by hand into slopes so steep they seem almost purely vertical. Irrigation channels were cut to move water between levels with an economy that wastes absolutely nothing. To look at those terraces is to truly understand stubbornness as the engine of civilization in hostile places. The Dzongs, massive fortress monasteries, were built to govern and worship simultaneously, without compromise or apology. Each one sits at a valley junction, commanding the landscape with the full authority of a physical fact. Punakha Dzong sits at the meeting of two rivers, as it has for more than 6 centuries. It has survived earthquakes that split its walls and fires that consumed its upper floors entirely. It survived floods that reached its foundations and reshaped the surrounding land completely within hours. Each time it was damaged, it was rebuilt, larger and more precise, as if disaster were a teacher. Its walls are meters thick and whitewashed bright enough to be seen clearly from distant valley ridges. Its interior courtyards hold a silence so concentrated it feels like something the builders engineered deliberately. These buildings are not museums. Monks live here, study here, and pray here every single day. They look out from windows that framed the same mountain views 500 years ago and still do. Nothing inside has been replaced. Nothing has been updated for the comfort of anyone observing from outside. The continuity here is not carefully preserved. It simply was never broken. That is an entirely different thing. Nomadic herders still move above 4,000 meters with yak herds that sustain entire high-altitude communities. The yaks provide milk, meat, wool, and carrying strength, everything this extreme altitude demands and requires daily. Their tents are positioned precisely, accounting for wind direction, drainage, and the animals' inherited grazing patterns. That placement is not guesswork. It is understanding carefully refined over many generations of high-altitude winter living. When the snows come without warning, these communities descend through passes that would stop most trained climbers. There is no drama in their movement, only practiced efficiency applied without hesitation to hard and cold conditions. They carry exactly what they need. They leave when the mountain says to leave. They return when it allows. This has been the rhythm of their lives for longer than anyone left living can fully and completely remember. There are moments in Bhutan when scale stops being beautiful and becomes something without a name. The Himalayas at full winter force are not scenery, they are an active, ongoing geological event. Every process nearby, weather, water, life, ambition, runs as a minor variation within the mountain's margin. Gangkhar Punsum rises at 7,570 meters, the highest unclimbed peak remaining anywhere on this earth. Its summit holds a silence so complete that the absence of humans feels like the mountain's own statement. No fixed ropes, no flags, no crampon marks, no human trace on any visible face of this peak. Bhutan banned mountaineering on its highest peaks. The mountains received that decision with complete, total indifference. They were not waiting for permission. They will not notice when the policy eventually changes. Flash floods arrive without approach. One moment the river runs, the next a wall of water comes. That wall strips riverbanks of everything that is not stone and deposited somewhere entirely different. Glacial lake outburst floods have reshaped entire valley floors within hours, erasing generations of human geography. Communities rebuild after each event, higher, with thicker walls, on ground the floodwater did not reach. They do not speak of these events as disasters. They call it the mountains expressing a preference. And then they return to work, because that is what 4,000 years of this place teaches. Bengal tigers climb thousands of meters above any elevation their recorded range would suggest is possible. 4,000 years of accumulated knowledge, carried not in books, but in the body, the breath, and every step. They have lived alongside these mountains long enough to understand the mountains impose no limits on movement. The forests here are a living system, and every creature within them knows its full and complete extent. Golden langurs cross the black mountain canopy with precision that makes the forest look designed for them. They exist nowhere else on Earth, confined to a corridor measurable in kilometers, irreplaceable and entire. Their golden fur catches the morning light like something not supposed to survive this world, but did anyway. Bhutan does not exist to be visited, understood, measured, or improved. It simply and completely exists. It exists the way the mountains exist, on its own terms, before every question ever asked of it. When clouds close over the Paro Valley and the peaks vanish behind advancing weather, something certain remains. What remains is a country that has always known exactly what it is, without needing to explain itself. It has never sought permission. It has never required understanding. It will be here long after we are gone. The forest will close over every road built here. The rivers will reclaim every bank that was ever shaped. The mountains will remain whole, as they have always remained, entirely indifferent to everything that happened below. This is not sentiment, it is geology, and geology has never once asked for our agreement or approval.